So yeah, why you guys got this big tube balloon here?
We just had
It's
our,
no one's birthday.
No.
No, actually, it is someone's birthday.
technically.
It's Lowen's
Yeah,
birthday.
it's Lowen's birthday.
Happy birthday,
But
Lowen.
even it was like, what's the official date actually though?
Nah, it's actually the 27th
Of October?
October. Yeah,
But that's just storefront.
that's just store.
Lowen has another birthday, I guess.
Yeah, in like February.
All right, that's the other
Technically,
thing.
as an entity starting.
We're getting idiots back here.
I'm down, man.
You gotta get that 3 next year.
Because
Oh,
we've been in business for 5 years, storefront 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but those first 3 years was
yeah,
is
it's
that
just
a business or is it a hobby?
it was a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. With the asterisks.
But yeah, I just found when I seen this yesterday, I just found it funny because girls be loving this. Every girl has a pic with balloons.
these balloons?
At least one of them on their IG.
Or
Yeah.
18.
You figure out how
18 to 25, and then after that they kind of slowly go down.
I seen a 26 today. I was like, oh,
26.
shit. Yeah.
She's loving life, man. Most
Yeah,
girls don't
good
like
for
it.
her.
30s, you never see that. I don't even know if they make 3s.
Definitely somewhere in the back storage,
Yeah.
bro. It was like,
We
yeah,
never
these-
sell any of these. We make them just in case, you know.
Yeah.
No, but we were saying, in the girls in their 18s, 19s, in their 20s, they love those balloons. But as soon as they hit 30, you don't see it anymore.
They probably have something for their 30s that they kind of like showing off when they on every birthday. Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Oh, God.
Joe with the
Oh,
slaps.
it's yeah. We got our own kid though.
Yeah, shouts out LowEnd.
Shouts out on
Is it a boy or girl?
no gender specifications.
They?
It's
Today?
it's a day.
We're doing the pronouns now. Right? Welcome to 2020.
Word. We're not talking about that. That's it.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching. My name's Hector. With me today, I got Ian, Raz, and Joe behind the camera. And let's get to the bottom line.
Word.
What are we talking about today?
Oh yeah.
Let me just talk.
Yeah, let's cheers first,
Yeah, no,
actually.
what are we cheersing though? What do we got? What are we drinking?
We're drinking the Mal. What was the
The
one?
Malbec. You guys still have the bottle around here?
Yeah, it's over there.
Yeah, it's like a 2016 Malbec. I think it's a little more sour than the one we had last week though.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know if I like this
Cheers.
one as much, but still good.
Joe?
Hey, man,
Joe?
I've been waiting for this glass of wine.
For
all
real.
week.
I've needed this.
So what are we talking about today, guys?
Well,
So-
we met back last week. We've done a lot, but we'll kind of cover what we did this week. You guys had your
2 year. Yeah.
2 year.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about retail, how it is now, if it's brick and mortar versus e-commerce, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about my last week as well. I was looking at purchasing some land and stuff like that,
Mhm.
so I think those would be good topics to kind of talk
Yeah.
about.
I'm down for that. Honestly, this week's felt like the longest week in such a long time.
For real. Mm-hmm.
For some reason, it just felt super long. It didn't feel long. It just felt longer because this year's just been going by crazy. I think we've been we were planning up and doing some work for our 2-year anniversary sale, which happened yesterday,
Mhm.
and we're doing a bunch of work to get that prepared, and it just felt like a long week. A lot of
Dragged on,
work.
man.
Yeah, but yesterday was very successful.
Yeah, a lot of good energy in here. It was busy till about like 3:30.
And
We just
how
had
did you guys
groups
open?
of people.
12 o'clock.
Yeah, we had groups of people coming in all day.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool to see because it was almost like a social event as much as it was a celebration for the store and some
Yeah.
steals and deals.
Mhm.
You know, so it was cool to see that mix.
So you guys put in a lot of work. What'd you guys do? Because I was talking to you earlier this
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
You're like, I'm busy with
I
this.
was
I'm busy with this.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was creating some ads and trying to dive into the marketing schemes of how we're gonna get this promotion going.
Mhm.
It came off the legs of our legacy drop, so I was kind of busy. Yep. Shouts out to the hoodies.
Yep.
Yep.
Raz is wearing one right now. Joe's got one on too.
Joe's got the original one.
But yeah, came off the legs of that, so we had to get a lot prepared. throughout those 2 weeks. What items we were gonna have for sale, anything we were gonna drop, and just kind of how we were gonna promote this thing. Just like a full timeline of the week.
Yeah.
We're kind of giving teasers throughout the week of this is gonna be available, and we're getting questions all week. Oh, what size? This and that. How much? And we give like sneak peeks of some of the tags.
Right.
Pretty cool to see because people are going crazy.
For sure.
Like 170 for a pair of Yeezys. Not gonna see that.
140 for a Louis bag.
Yeah.
Whoa,
like,
whoa,
you're
whoa,
not,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
$30.
140 for a Louis bag.
It was like a. It was
Is that authenticated?
it's like a makeup bag. Yeah. I don't
Louis Speedy bag. I think the proper name was for it.
Yeah.
We got it for. Actually, we sold it to someone a year ago, and she resold it to us for some textbooks she needed for school. Sold it for us for pretty cheap, so we were able to give it back to someone else for a good price. We had a bunch of like good deals though. Even throughout the week, I was telling these guys I didn't really want to market it as a sale, just more of as like a celebration,
Thank you.
anniversary thing. The word sale kind of gets used up too many times sometimes in like retail, and it could end up having like a bad connotation, bad feeling towards it. So it was more of a celebration, and it was dope.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of people coming through till like around 3:30, but we still had like groups of people coming by throughout the whole day, just interacting, congratulating us, and it felt good. It felt really, really good. It doesn't even feel like 2 years.
No. Feels longer or shorter for you?
It feels like a lot longer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
feel
like,
it like
just in this store alone, it feels like forever.
Yeah. A lot's happened in between that.
like
Yeah.
the
first
time
year.
goes by fast, but it feels like it was more time. Just because everything that happened in between those 2 years was just like a lot.
Yeah. We went through a lot of changes as a business and then just as individuals as well.
100%.
You know, so.
So what are some of those changes? You guys started 2 years ago. Talk more about the start of it and how you guys got to here then. Because
Want me to start?
yeah, I think you should start on this
You
one.
definitely started
Yeah,
off.
well,
You know a little bit.
Because
yeah.
you were there before
everything.
You were there
Exactly.
5 years ago. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just seeing how it turned from a hobby to a passion to something that I can put on a resume and just come to every day and kind of tend to, man. It's pretty beautiful seeing our roles kind of expand, because we were just kind of going at it, posting things on our page. Didn't really have a scheme or any planning, to be honest, for a long time. Even at the old shop, if you were a sandwich goer, shouts out to you, for real. But we didn't really have any roles. We had like little jobs here and there, but as a business, you need the owners and the people behind it to have their specific roles. And
Like what they specified?
yeah, and that's so important because we need to maximize our time and our skills here. I don't want Ian to be taking care of certain things because someone like Jed or Sean can definitely do that, or myself. You know what I'm saying? And just getting that integrated was so important because we started seeing ourselves grow financially as a business on the Instagram, everything. You know, there's still a lot of work to do for sure, but you know, we're taking the right steps.
Because before, like last year we really felt like we just showed up to the store every day and just kind of chilled or did what we had to do. Like we were just there to sell stuff.
Yeah.
We were just there so that if customers came in, there's someone there to help them out. But like in terms of business, I think we've grown this year in understanding that there's a lot more to scaling a business. That's why this year's been very, very special and like filled with experiences, very good experiences.
So you mentioned roles. I know I've talked about this on other days and stuff, but like, how do you guys split up the work? Like, is he in charge of more of the business? You're more in charge of the creative stuff, or kind of how did you guys set it up for this?
Yeah, that's kind of what our roles have entitled. Just kind of what we've worked to. Ian's more of the behind the scenes, deals with the finances. You can call him the CFO of the company, you know. I call myself a marketing specialist. That's mostly what I do. I take care of the socials, connecting with creatives, seeing what they can do for us, and kind of putting that all out on our social media websites, stuff like that. looking for ways to kind of improve.
That wasn't the bottle of wine, was it?
No, it wasn't. Looking for ways to.
That was secured.
All right, we're gonna cut that. Okay, back. So we're just.
Don't cut it.
Come on, man, cut that. Oh man. But looking for ways to kind of improve the website right now
Okay.
is super important to us because we're seeing a shift in the world of fashion and business. E-commerce is so important right now, and we are a brick and mortar shop. But I think touching that aspect almost gives us another storefront, and to maximize that, I know I personally have to dive deep into that, and that's probably my next project.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about that in the next couple of
course.
minutes for sure. Because, yeah, like you said, that's how it's kind of going now. Most places have got rid of their brick and mortar and went straight to online. But we'll talk more about how you guys have been able to find that homogenous zone of that little hybrid of a little bit of both.
Or at least trying to.
Yeah.
At least trying to.
Well, it's only been 2 years. Most business they're not even profitable up to this point,
Right.
you know?
And we've only had our online store for like a consistent
8
online
months?
store
6
for
months?
8 months, which is surprised it took us that long, but
Easy.
I mean, considering the circumstances that we're in this year, it had to be
get
done.
done,
Or
yeah.
I don't think we'd be celebrating a 2-year.
No.
So yeah, we're super blessed to be in this position. Like that's another part of celebrating 2 years. Like you really get to sit back and be like, wow, not a lot of businesses get to celebrate 2 years being in business, having a storefront. We've seen it firsthand, and even Hector could tell you that it wasn't like it's 2 years, but you've been doing it for a lot longer, and it's been stop and start for various reasons as well, right? Like business is never guaranteed. So just being able to do that yesterday as well was just super, super dope. And enjoying it with a lot of customers that have been supporting us since day one. We had someone line up at 4:30 yesterday.
In the morning?
Yeah.
4:30 a.m. We had some stuff for very good prices, and some guys that had been rocking with us for time were out there at 4:30.
How did you know they were there? They send you pics, or how did
They
you know?
they
told us.
We pulled up and we were like, yo, what time did you guys get here? And they're like, 4:30. We saw you guys posted some Supreme tees for $30 and
Yeezys
for $170, and we're like, we're not missing out on these.
Yeah.
They came in, bought 3 pairs of shoes,
couple tees.
Cash out.
Crazy.
Yeah.
They're tired as hell, man. They're walking out like cross-eyed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I feel so bad for these kids. It was cold.
It was
You
cold.
guys should have hooked
man.
them up with something.
I mean, I guess we hooked them up with something.
Can't cut that either.
Oh man.
Yo, cut them.
Yo, Joe. No.
You should have seen the spit that came out of this man's mouth.
Came out of his mouth. I was like,
that's the balloon.
almost the balloon for real.
Yo, put it in slow mo if anything.
Yeah, like run it back and then slow mo.
Don't cut it. Just make it worse.
Oh shit.
Oh man.
We gave them really good deals. I think that's why. I think that was like
That was the hookup.
the trading point.
Yeah.
Like shouts out to them. It was dope.
Was there anybody
But,
that came in that you've never seen before? Or?
There was a couple new faces for sure.
A couple people that came in that were their first times in the store, and I think that goes that's a testament to the marketing and just overall our presence on Instagram. I think this month specifically, we've really been with the legacy drop, and now with the 2-year anniversary thing, we've had a lot of stuff to market specifically for, which has brought a lot of new faces either on our Instagram, online shop, or in store. We've been seeing a lot of activity on there. Like Instagrams are probably our main driver for marketing. So whenever we see like positive numbers there, that usually translate into our online
in-store activity. Yeah.
Which has been really, really good. Like, I mean, you know that
Oh yeah.
So talk more
Sure.
about that. Let's say you put a new product on there.
Mhm.
Let's I don't know what's been the hottest product. Like you put it on and you're like, this is gonna sell quick. Like how do you determine that? Like what's your average? Let's say your average views, and then you know when a product is hot. Like what's kind of how does that do?
So usually the hottest items are usually the ones with more hype behind it. So like Jordan 1s, Supreme, Bape, certain sneakers like Off-White, stuff like that, right? That's usually what gains the most traction. Usually we're looking at, for me, when I look at the Instagram statistics, I'll look at sends, saves, and likes. So sends usually means people are just sending that out to their homies.
Check this out, yeah.
Yo, check this out, or like, yo, this is your size, or whatever,
Copy,
right?
yeah.
And then say, like people, I've seen people pull up their saves, and they got all our stuff there.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, I want this.
Yeah.
Right. And which is pretty cool. And I know if a post has got a lot of those, usually people are going to be coming in for it that day.
So let's say what's an average post? Like you getting 5,000 views or 1,000 views?
Yeah, usually a couple thousand. I would say maybe around 10,000 accounts reached, something like that.
Okay. And then if the
10,000
product's
to
hot.
8, depending on the product, really.
Yeah.
We try to reach more accounts through hashtags,
Okay.
which is very important. You can get your posts out to whoever's kind of searching up a product. Say Jordan 1s, someone's trying to look at them. Our post will pop up if we hashtag it, and people will view it, which is pretty cool. Gets them onto our page and possible new customers, you know.
Right.
So that's one thing we have tried to implement recently, and it's been showing up because certain posts, like especially with Jordans and hype, you're gonna get more viewers because people are looking more for that type of stuff. Vintage is something that not that we struggle marketing it, but I think it definitely gets less traction on the page in general, just because like I don't think as many people are looking for a vintage piece compared to like a sneaker,
Right.
like a Jordan 1. That's just how the market is right now,
for sure.
you know.
Like
I
vintage
think,
is very specific too.
Yeah,
Like Jordan
that too.
1s, you could buy it for any reason. You could wear
Exactly.
it, hold it onto it, maybe it'll grow in value.
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly.
But a vintage piece, it's like, even just looking around here, it's like you've got something from 1993, a tour.
Yeah.
So like,
It's unique. It's like it's based on hobbies, culture, stuff like that. So I could definitely see why people
People try to connect to a vintage piece usually, and it takes. Sometimes we say it like it takes that specific person to come in and really vibe with it and purchase it. You know, so
yeah, once they get that one piece, they're like, all right, this is the place I can go to get some more vintage stuff. Oh, they got these new Jordan 1s. My cousin would love this. Let me send it to him.
Yeah.
It's an ever-growing ecosystem, right?
Exactly. And we've been able, with 2 years having a storefront, we've been able to leverage the relationships we've built in here, the knowledge we've been just the community that we've been able to build. I think that's the biggest thing of having a store.
easy.
It's just being able to build such a great community of people. Like some people are more excited to be in here than we were yesterday, and it was
For
just
real.
dope. You know what I'm saying? Something you can't have online or on Instagram. And nowadays we're transitioning into a period where, I always see this when I'm reading like business articles. Is like, is retail dead? I'm not retail, brick and mortar dead.
Right.
We're seeing so many stores closing up shop due to the circumstances that we're in. With COVID-19 and everything like that. But even before that, there was always those.
A lot of those businesses that are out now, some of them might have been on that last month or two of like, when everything was going good, they might have only had like a month or two of, if anything going bad, could have just ruined them. So like at this point, with COVID coming in, that's why you literally walk around here. There's probably like 15 or 20 stores for lease.
Yep.
All these little corner shops right here, they're all for lease.
Yeah.
And you can see it. Like that's why I was saying most businesses aren't lasting 2-3 years, aren't able to celebrate a 2-year anniversary, aren't able to be profitable, to pay their bills, still be able to pay their employees, hire new employees, be able to social media. Like there's a lot of costs initially when you have a new business, and you guys are doing it all right. You got your own product that you're selling, plus you got other people's product, and you're co-signing, and there's more than just one way to bring in a dollar.
Do you guys know the store Le Chateau?
Yeah, it's closing down, I heard.
Yeah, seen that news in like on Friday or Thursday or something like that.
Spent so much money on my grade 8 suit there.
And I saw the news on Twitter, and that's what I was seeing a lot in the comments. Is like a lot of people saying, "Oh, that's where I got my prom dress at. That's where I got my graduation, pieces at." And that news came in this week. They're shutting down 123 locations across Canada. 1,400 employees are gonna be losing their jobs, and they posted revenues early this summer around 14 million, which was down from that time ago last year, which was around 50 million.
Wow.
So, when you're talking about some of these companies probably already being on their last legs before COVID, that, COVID obviously accelerated it a lot for some of these businesses. And again, that fuels more of that talk is brick and mortar dead and that type of conversation. And I might be a little bit biased because I am an owner of a brick and mortar store. Mainly, that's where most of our business comes from. But I just don't feel like that's the case.
I agree. I think brick and mortar isn't fully dead, but I think retail stores especially need to take that extra step to kind of innovate in certain ways. Like yesterday, we experienced that where it was just as much a social gathering as a retail celebration.
Right.
If certain retail stores can really mix the two, kind of have some fun little things in here. Like we were talking about a Keymaster, which is kind of like a machine you buy and you can pay $5, $1 to play, and you win like an Off-White sneaker. It's like literally
That's
$5, and you can literally
arcade machines.
yeah, it's like a literally arcade machine, right? So and like if we had something in here like that.
Yeah,
That
you
just
literally
brings
come in,
people to just play.
Yeah, I'll come play a
it's-
game. Maybe I'll win a pair of Off-White. If not, I
Exactly.
just paid $1 for 10 minutes of entertainment.
Exactly.
And then if
Yeah.
1,000 people do that, it doesn't really matter if you're giving a pair of Off-Whites away because there's 1,000 people have put in $1.
Word. And we
you've
had
made your Off-White back. So
we had a live DJ in here. Shouts out to Avius Music one time.
Yep. He's itching.
Yeah. Oh.
And so you got the DJ in
Yeah,
here.
we had a live DJ in here, and again, it added to that social gathering aspect of retail where we took a different turn to what most places do, like at the mall.
Yeah.
It's kind of just bland there. You know what you're getting. You come in there and you're basically there for the transaction. Here, I think we bring something different where it's, again, a social aspect where people can come connect with the owners and workers here
In the
on
community.
on top of the community. We've created that community here where we've kind of deviated from a regular retail space, and I feel like that's where brick and mortar shops are heading to or should.
Right. And that's literally what I was going to say. Like how I said with Le Chateau, I haven't been there since I was in grade 8.
Yeah.
But if it was more of a community place, you come in here, it's not just an overpriced vest that's like $300
Yeah.
that you're gonna wear once. And there's not really much you can do with those luxury places because it's like you said, you go in there for a transaction. They have the best product. Like you want to go in there. They didn't really spend their time building a community place.
Yeah.
It's just you go in there, you make the transaction.
Go out.
The salesperson says something nice to you.
Word.
You look at it in that suit, just like any salesman should say. You look at it in that dress, blah, blah, blah. But you don't come in there for the salesman's opinion. You come in there because they have kind of the best product. But at the end of the day, clothes, you can buy those off the internet. You don't need to go into a store.
Exactly.
Like, you go into the store for other things other than the product.
Yeah.
Like you go in there for the community, the
Social
guys,
aspect.
like all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for me, it's there's always this talk about Amazon distribution centers and everyone ordering their stuff online. And there's obviously that stuff is always going to be on the rise. That's always going to be very convenient for people. But I just don't see people picking up, their Nike Off-White sneakers, their groceries, and their school textbooks all in one spot. Or, going to an Amazon, distribution center and picking all of that up at one spot.
Right.
I just can't see it. Like, people want to be social. People want to go out, spend their time in communities that are geared towards their interests and likes.
Yep.
And that's what's, retail stores can be or
should strive to be.
Are gonna have to become.
Well, like look at these places on like Rodeo Drive, right? Like where the real estate places were so expensive, so like
Yeah.
you had to upcharge your products by an extra 25% just to be able to pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was all part of the shopping experience. You go down to Rodeo Drive, you go down to the Gucci store, you go down to whatever, and that's a day experience.
Mhm.
But with all these places getting shut down, finding a place where it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to run and be able to have people come in to see your product, I think that's gonna have to be like how it kind of evolves, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't spend $20,000 on a place. What happens if you don't make no sales? Like you're gonna be closed down real quick, or you're gonna keep pulling money out of your pocket just to keep this business running.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, most people see that and they're like, I've got a great product. I don't want to just sell to my community because that's what a brick and mortar kind of limits you to. I'm just going to open it up on the internet, and that $20,000 I'd spend per month on retail location, I'll just spend it on Facebook ads.
Exactly.
I'll sell my product that way.
Exactly.
So.
Because, are these, because rent in malls have been so expensive. Rent on, famous streets and stuff like that, Rodeo Drive, are so expensive. People are realizing that it's not really worth it, and it's not what you need exactly to thrive in business.
Mm-hmm.
Hermes this week came out saying that they were going to increase their e-commerce presence. So Hermes is a luxury brand that special. They're the ones that make the Birkin bags. They're very known for that, and their luxury goods. They came out this week, said they're going to increase their presence on e-commerce after seeing triple-digit growth in terms of online sales in the past few months, especially during
They sold
COVID.
one Birkin bag at the beginning of the year. Now they sold 10. No, just kidding. These guys are moving those off the shelves.
Moving those off
Birkins.
for real.
Man, after you get a Jay-Z song saying like, your girl might have all the Chanel, but my girl's got Birkin. Nobody heard of Birkin before. Well, people that were in the knew about Birkin.
We
but
definitely
it's
need to have a conversation about that. Like,
Yeah.
About what?
when rappers drop like specific, because I've seen articles and stuff written about that, but like when rappers drop certain name brands like vehicles or
They get paid
luxury
for it.
brands, they get paid for it, but some of them don't at the same time. Like back in the day, I remember you wrote a piece on LowEnd about was it Dolce or Gucci, when rappers were wearing those like Biggie.
Yep.
What frames was he wearing?
even his tiger coat.
Versace frames.
Versace frames. Those brands really weren't endorsing these rappers.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day, but they had every kid grow, like every black kid or urban kid from the hood wanting to get Versace's.
They would turn these people down at the stores basically just because of their color and how they would act, present themselves, or dress.
Yep.
But they were rocking their stuff and everybody wanted that.
There's value in those name drops.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And just them wearing it wherever.
What's that big glasses company? They're huge in Detroit, the Buffs.
Cartier.
Cartier, yeah. Huge. Detroit literally brought Cartier glasses on the map, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Like the Buffs, like everybody in
Shouts out to all
Detroit's got them.
Mans.
You're gonna. I wouldn't recommend buying a pair of Buffs and walking down Detroit because you're gonna get stuck up. But like, there's a reason for it. There's a reason they're so expensive. Like people want to they want to get them because it's like, oh, I heard that in a Biggie song, or I heard that in a Jay-Z song, or whatever.
My favorite rappers wearing them. Whatever.
Yeah.
So,
but,
so yeah, like they came out of nowhere. They sold one Birkin bag at the beginning of the year. Now they sold 10 after that Jay-Z song.
Yeah, after the Jay-Z dropped after Saweetie said, I'm just kidding.
Tell him, bro. Tell him.
Yeah.
You just said it.
I mean, like, yeah, it just goes back to the name drops, bro. Like, Saweetie's one of these up-and-coming female, not up-and-coming, she's pretty popular now, but she's a rapper. And there's a video floating on the internet of her saying, if your mans can't buy you a Birkin bag or pay your bills, you need to throw him back to the streets.
You need to throw that girl back to the streets.
that?
you gotta throw your man back to the streets. And
How you feeling about that?
He's like, I'm good. I can buy that Birkin bag, no problem.
I wish I could, but the first Birkin I get definitely isn't going to no
Lady?
no lady.
It's
Only
going for
moms.
you.
Only if it's moms.
Oh, yeah.
Only if it's moms.
I thought you were going to rock it.
It might be for myself. Could be for myself as well. But
Oh man.
Yeah, we're seeing these luxury brands diving, not just luxury brands, a lot of people diving into e-commerce. We did it ourselves.
Exactly, we had to.
Due to COVID. The CFO said e-commerce is becoming its biggest store. And these luxury brands are known for having high retail locations in expensive places, cities like New York, LA, and stuff like that. And for them to be coming out and saying e-commerce is where it's at, e-commerce is where we're seeing a lot of growth, a lot of traffic, a lot of conversion. Again, with the circumstances that we're in, it's like it's pretty huge, and it's just telling to where retail is going to go. But to a certain degree, I don't think e-commerce is thing that fixes everything, because I still feel like there's a need for brick and mortar. But it is definitely interesting to see, because businesses are going to be investing a lot more into their online presence.
Oh yeah.
It's like the same thing with anything else in the world. It's about balance, right? Before we started talking about this, we were talking about cable and how that used to be one thing, and then it got distributed to 8 different Netflix, Disney, and now it's kind of going back to that all channel subscription. Amazon started doing deliveries, then they bought Whole Foods, now they're going back into brick and mortar. If something's in place, it may not be the time and place for it, but everything's got to have its own time and place. And finding that balance between having a local area plus being able to kind of sell to the rest of the world, it's gonna have to be how it is. You cannot make all your sales out of one store.
Facts.
You just can't do it. It's either you're gonna have to open up a place in every single part of the world, or you open up a website, and DHL will ship it to you, or FedEx will ship it to you, or whatever. But once you have that one location where people come and feel it, or once they trust that the product's good, they'll just buy online. But they need that one place to be able to kind of put that first step, right?
I agree.
Offering free returns and stuff like that is something that Amazon and other internet companies have done to allow them to kind of try the product out without giving them any worries of not getting your money back, whatever. If you don't like it, you just send it right back. But I think that there's always going to need to be that place where, you know what, I'm not doing anything today. I'll just come downtown. I'll go down to the store. I'll try the piece on. I'll see what else they have. Maybe I don't have enough money now to buy everything, but I'll just order it online instead of going back into the store or something like that, right? So
it goes back to that humans feel the need to connect and be social,
grow and connect.
Yeah.
And learn.
Oh yeah.
And learn.
Let them know.
They're doing a lot of learning in here for sure.
Oh yeah, and connecting and growing.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like we're doing something.
Oh man.
It's like it's a bottom line.
Oh yeah. Agent fine.
Definitely good for our bottom line.
Yeah.
But
definitely good for Birkin bags bottom line too.
100%. They're feeling real good. They're saying no Birkin bags online though. They're saying they're keeping that exclusive for
Just the
store.
belts?
Yeah. What does Hermes make? They make belts. They make leatherwork.
Yeah, leatherwork.
Wallets.
Stuff
like that.
Just
Mostly
luxury
leatherwork,
goods, leatherwork, and then obviously the Birkin bag is kind of like their staple piece.
How much does a
LeBron
Birkin bag go
James.
for? Oh, Joe's looking it up. Perfect.
Joe, pull it up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, LeBron's got a bunch for his wife. His wife loves.
You gotta save up. If I'm trying to get a Birkin bag, I gotta save up probably for the next few years.
Oh, easy.
You know what I'm saying?
Get the Birkin fund going.
Yeah, mama's Birkin fund.
Mom's gonna be like, why don't you just buy a piece of property?
Why don't you finish?
Why didn't you finish what? Finish the sentence, Ian.
Start with the sentence, then finish with university.
Why didn't you pay for your school fees?
Oh man.
Why am I still paying for your? Why are you still living here?
You think I want this bag?
with the bag in hand, you give her the bag.
Yeah.
Like, yo, move out.
You return this. Go pay for a year's worth of rent.
Oh.
Here, let
much
me
did
give
it
you
go
a $10,000 price tag.
The cheapest one on here is $3,700.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, Jay. I know you could afford a couple of these.
That I can see at the.
I can get. Yeah, we
So
can get some.
the bigger.
No, cheapest one is oh no, it's just a strap. It's $1,700.
So maybe that my
Just
40K
the
is looking pretty good.
The biggest or the most expensive one is $8,300.
Okay.
Okay, that's not bad.
That isn't bad actually.
That's not too bad.
I mean,
No,
I'm saying
no,
that.
for sure. That's a lot of money to spend on a bag.
Yeah.
Like, But in my head, I'm like, if JGZ's rapping about it, it's probably like 30, 45K, you know.
I said 100,000.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But apparently they're worth the money. From what I've read, people say like the
Life-
quality, the craftsmanship, like are behind the bag and everything like
Piece
that.
that'll last a lifetime type thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I mean they hold their value as well. I've heard of people investing in like Birkin bag
Vintage Birkins.
funds
Mhm.
in a way, like they trade
Like an ETF for Birkin bags?
Exactly.
That's
for luxury,
crazy.
for luxury goods. Because apparently Birkin bags are a lot better at holding their value than even like real estate,
Yeah.
stocks, and stuff like
Hold
that.
on. This line just came in my head. Birkin bag worth 5-6 figures. That's not a real line?
Birkin bag. Are
Birkin
you talking
bag
about a
worth-
lyric?
Yeah. It's like Birkin bag worth 5-6
Is that
figures.
let me that
Dude,
might be
that is a
Sweetie's
lyric.
track.
That's not Sweetie's track.
It's a girl that
maybe
sings that.
It is.
I think it is.
It is.
I think it is. I swear.
Oh
it's-
no.
No, I think it's a
JT?
girl. I think it's a girl that.
Oh, JT. It could be
City
JT
Girls?
too.
Yeah, I think it's it might be the City Girls.
Three
Yeah.
City Girls.
Yeah.
Right.
City Girls.
Yeah.
I knew it's like they have catchy songs, but
They
you know
do.
you only hear that one lyric of
Yeah.
it.
They're
So,
all
no,
looking
not
for
worth-
Birkin
On my
bags.
ass.
Yeah. Call that bitch ticket.
Mhm. Finish it
Yeah.
off,
Hermes, pay these people for all these plugs because
please.
they got every girl wanting a Birkin bag and there's no man in sight.
Safe.
They don't know any dude that could buy one though. That's the crazy part.
Well, they do. They probably shouldn't be talking to those people, but they do.
Yeah.
Oh man. Happy 2 years, guys.
Happy 2 years.
we gotta get you a Birkin.
Yeah. Most we could do right now is a Louis bag for 140 though.
Savings, man. Don't be hating.
Steals and deals.
Steals and deals at low end. Come on. For the
real.
people.
Always for the people.
Shouts out, Jed.
So how do you guys differentiate between what you guys are doing in the brick and mortar store and what you guys put online? Do you guys put everything online, or is it just kind of, do you have some specialties in store? How do you differentiate between that?
There are certain pieces in store that we don't post online.
Okay.
Whether it's because of condition,
Okay.
or we just have it as an in-store promotion.
Mhm.
Currently, we are working to definitely expand our online presence
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like we kind of plateaued once we opened up. We were going full force on that during COVID and quarantine.
Mhm.
But
You guys had the time.
yeah, we had the time, right? And now it's kind of like someone has to kind of focus on that aspect of things. That's where these guys have told me, are you down to kind of take that responsibility? And I'm more than welcome to.
Mhm.
And I definitely want to see our online store flourish because, again, that could be another store on its own,
Mhm.
basically, like funding everything for basically free.
Yeah,
I
you guys
know
have
we
to pay your
pay-
subscription
We
fees
pay
and stuff like that.
subscription fees
Yeah.
and stuff, but that's pretty minuscule compared to
You can
the
write those off.
potential profits.
You can write those off.
Yeah, exactly that too.
Oh, that's a big one.
So getting that online presence is definitely important, but again, the brick and mortar aspect of it is just as important to us because that's how we created this community and this trust in our city
For sure.
with the people that come to our store. We just love the vibe, the social aspect, whatever they come in for as well.
Before COVID, did you have people coming in like from out of town?
Oh,
Or?
yeah.
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 Mhm.
Does that still happen now, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it still happens from now. We've had some people that have just been in the city for other reasons, but people like from Utah, remember last year that came by, people from London,
Chicago.
Chicago,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But at the same time, now we're seeing online orders from New Zealand, from
Australia.
California, from Vancouver.
Yeah.
So it's been crazy to see how far we can reach with the online store.
Mhm.
And we want to tap into that a lot more. And there's so many layers to it as well because there's so many ways you can improve a website, specifically ours, because that's kind of what we're working on. Because it could be based on like the selection of stuff that you have on there, and it could also be the overall look of the website,
Mhm.
and it's also the marketing the website. You go into SEOs, you go into Facebook ads, you go all of that stuff. Like it's pretty complex. But it's something that we understand that we got to do because we feel like we've only really scratched the surface with our marketing and our online store.
Yep.
Like I said earlier, we've only been online for 8 months consistently. For 2 of those months were during COVID, so it was our only platform to sell stuff on, and we saw good
Great
numbers.
profits.
You guys were making enough money to run the store just through the online store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh?
for sure.
But once the online store got back open,
In-store.
Once in-store opened back up.
in-store opened back up. All our efforts kind of went into that.
For sure.
It was kind of what we were used to prior.
Yeah, exactly.
And we all just got thrown into here, so kind of lost our way in that sense.
Yeah, so we're in the process of trying to learn how to balance and really maximize an online store.
Yeah. And I think it goes down to what Hector was saying. Like, you need to have somebody on there that's what they do. Like, they're not in the store. They literally just focus on the online store.
Yeah.
And that's all they focus on. Like, all day they just learn on how to optimize the site, how to increase SEO, how to blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, essentially what you guys are doing in here, but just like Hector said, this is another, pretty much, it could be a duplicate of the store. It's still going to take its own work.
Yep.
It's not going to be the exact same work you guys are doing here, but it's a living thing. It needs its own, needs to be tended to.
Exactly. And one thing we're super good at, I think, is showing our personality and who we are on the Instagram and in store. So if we can take that aspect and move it online store, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook. Oh, we kind of already do Facebook. It's integrated into definitely better for sure. But if we can integrate what we do here into all aspects of our business, we can definitely start seeing some great growth in short amount of time.
100%.
It's going to take a while, though, obviously, a little bit of time to get rolling. But
2 years you guys have already started up a successful business. I'm sure in another year or two, the online store is going to
we'll see where we're at.
It's going to be popping then, too. So
for
all of them, you can't move forward unless you take it a step at a time. So
100%.
Small steps.
You can't throw everything in your lap at once because you're just going to burn out. You're going to be like, oh, we shouldn't focus this much on the store. We got to focus more on the online store. Blah, 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 blah. Just give yourself mania, essentially. And now where it's like, you know what you're good at. You've got stuff in the back burner, but it's not like you forget about the stuff in the back burner. And they're all kind of working towards that one big goal. So it'll all come in time, man. Like, you guys have done great so far. It's just going to keep getting better and better.
Thank you.
Now you guys got the swipe up on the Instagram. Like, I know we've brought this a couple times. Like, after you hit the 10,000, it should really make your Shopify store easier to integrate and stuff like that. So if you guys just focus on Instagram and building that up, then your store is going to see that overflow result and all that other stuff. So
because to kind of wrap it up, it's like we've only been Instagram and in store for 2 years.
Yeah, basically.
Now we want to be Instagram, in store, online, YouTube, Facebook,
Twitter.
Like, I mean, we want to see what really is like what's best for ourselves, where our target market is. But there's definitely more room to kind of grow into and just
but what you guys have been doing has been working. Like, Instagram gives you the analytics you need. You were talking earlier. I know when a product can sell just based off the analytics that Instagram gives me. And then the integration that they're making with other companies. Like, Instagram's going to be your kind of staple, and then everything's going to kind of feed off there, I'm assuming. So, but
there's always that question, like, if Instagram didn't exist, I know we've talked about that. Where would we kind of focus our energy? Because everywhere else it's kind of gray area. Website, obviously, but it's like we haven't really tested out these other platforms the way we should.
And I don't know, Twitter, you can't really sell a lot of products there. It's
more of a community connection.
It's an update.
Type thing.
Yeah, it's like, this is what we're doing now kind of thing, not here are our products. Like, Instagram and Pinterest are kind of the best for that. You see it, you swipe up on it, and you interact with it a bit, but when you're selling a product, you don't need to do more than that. If you could make it somewhere that they could touch the product, never going to be possible through a phone, but they've got that little hybrid option here. They can come into the store and test it out. So I think you're kind of hitting all aspects at that point. So just keep going forward, and you'll get there. You'll get where you want to
Of
go.
course. So happy birthday to the low end. Happy 2 years as a storefront.
Yep.
I
Come
think
get
that's
your
enough
pieces.
of that.
Come get your pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, come get your pieces and your vintage and your sneakers.
What are we doing with this balloon? And
We are tossing this out.
I
pretty
know
quickly.
Ian wants to pop it. He never wants to see this
Ian
again.
is gonna pop this tonight.
Might spit on it.
Oh. But enough about us, Raz. What have you been? Yeah, it's out of focus. It's out of frame now for sure.
Yeah,
fuck
too
that.
high now.
Fog too.
Enough about us, though, Raz. What have you been up to this past week? Let us know.
Well, I don't know. This has been going on for the last 5-6 months. But
Mhm.
me and my brother and my parents were looking at closing on a property.
Yep.
And it's kind of up north. We were looking to get something where we didn't have as many rules and regulations. I don't know if you guys know, but like unorganized and organized land, like if you guys at your house there, if you want to cut down a tree, you need permits from the city.
Mhm.
If you want to build something, you need building permits and all that other stuff. So that's kind of what's called an organized township. And we're looking to get like some land in an unorganized township, so we can kind of go up. We're not restricted to build a house. We don't have to do that kind of stuff. More just enjoy nature, go out, go fishing, go hunting, a recreational property of sorts, right? And because of COVID, these things have been selling like wildfire. Everybody wants a place that government really can't tell them what to do, like low taxes, just go up there, clean air, don't have to worry about COVID, don't have to worry about the government telling you what to do, like all that kind of stuff, right? So these things have been going like crazy. Like as soon as we get one, I remember me and my brother a couple months ago, we went up to Manitoula and we talked to the guy. We're like, yeah, we're going to go see the property today. And literally by Monday, we went to see it on Saturday. We were going to put in an offer Monday. Sorry, buddy, it got sold yesterday. I'm like, did the guy even see the place? He's like, didn't even want to see it. He just bought it. Like,
Wow.
That's interesting.
That is
That's
interesting.
interesting. I mean,
Because personally, I'd like to see the place before I buy it, but
I just think like in general,
Yeah.
just like again, we're talking even with the earlier topic, we're talking about how COVID affected it. It's like it's pretty crazy how COVID's really affected everyone's thinking and
way of life.
what they're buying because of that.
Yep.
Like people aren't buying clothes as much, but people are buying. I mean, people with the money are buying properties and lands for the satisfaction of not being told what to do, having that freedom,
Yep.
especially in these times. Like
Like
That's
we,
very,
we
very
own we own
interesting.
a property up in Harrow as well too. We have a couple acres there, where we do like a small little vineyard and have like a small little farm. But just even the regulations on there, like we've got a little shipping container that we kind of use as a garage that we kind of like keep our tractor in and stuff like that. But because we don't have a house, we get emails, calls from the regional authorities there, like you got to remove that. You can't have it on there. Like.
wow.
You can't even put a tent
Wow.
on your property unless you have a house. Like, so it's like these little stupid rules, right? Like you bought the land, but like you really can't do anything with the
Yeah.
land until you have that one house on there. Then they can like, we wanted to put like a little tiny house on there, like something small, like 50, 60,000, just put a little tiny house on there so we don't have to keep driving back and forth.
Yeah.
We can stay there overnight and whatever. Can't do that. You have to have like a house built. It's got to be a certain amount of feet. Like in our area, we live in a bigger residential area, so they've got
Yeah.
to be like 3,000 square feet at least, and those are huge houses. If you know like what a 3,000 square foot is, and that's the minimum. So it's like
Wow.
you got to spend at least with these prices too, like 700,000-800,000 to build a house, just so you can put a little tiny house on there if you want to, right? So it's those little kind of things, right? Like, so we're just looking at a plot up north that's around like good fishing, good hunting. That people don't really. It's a different life up there, right? They're not worried about going on Instagram, getting their clout up, and all that other stuff. They're just interested about living life,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want, and kind of what I'd like to just be like. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go up north for the week or 2 weeks, or nobody can tell me really what to do there. So
It's beautiful.
so that's kind of the idea. And yeah, the place we were looking at had like a lake in the backyard and had like a 30, 40 acre lake, and the property was like 35 acres. It was big. It was nice, but like my dad and my brother went there yesterday, and it rained for like the last 5-6 days. So like it was just super soaked and muddy and everything, and like what the pictures show you and what real life shows you is a completely different thing. So like in my head for like the last week and a half since I signed the papers with the offer and everything, I put in a condition to view it, but in my head I'm like, you know what, it's got everything I need. It's unorganized, it's got a lake, I could walk to the lake, it's close to a highway, it's got cheap taxes. So like for me, it hit off like all those boxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my brother and dad came back today, and they're like, you can't do much with it. Like it's kind of like it's really wet, and you could barely walk there. It's like you step in, it's like 2 feet of water, and I'm like, you literally went to see it at the worst time.
Yeah.
Like this is the worst it's ever gonna get. And they're like, yeah, but you know, are we spending money on a shitty property, or are we gonna spend money on something good? And I'm like, do comparisons. I've been looking at the market for like 6-7 months. There's just nothing left. So like my idea was like, okay, I understand, shitty property. You were there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you made a decision in your head that this is a shitty property. But what happens if we can't get one of these in the future? What happens if like literally anything that's good gets automatically sold off, right? Because there's only so many of these unorganized places in Canada. A lot of places have a town built in or have regulations and set up stuff, right? So every year these are going to keep dwindling away. And I don't know, my idea is just like, let's just get it. We'll hold it on for a year or two. If we don't like it, we could always, the market's not like, oh, you can't resell this. We could always get rid of it. If we take a little loss, we take a little loss, but, or if we make money, that's great too. I don't expect people are not going to want a place to go. And kind of after hearing the negatives and stuff like that, I'm a person that likes to turn the negatives into a positive. So like it being a little bit wetter, you could make that into like a conservation area too. Like you could have nice birds and stuff come in there. Do it, have like a little Airbnb resort where you put a little yurt up. Like there's a lot of ways to kind of make money on it, but my dad and my brother aren't like on the same train of thought. So it's like they saw it, they made their own mind up about what it is, and they're kind of just like, you know what, it's not worth the time or the work. Where I'm like, you know what, we're not going to find anything else like this for the price point, the lake, and the fact that it's already started is kind of worth it for me. I'm not, any of these properties is going to take a lot of work. That's kind of something you're going to have in your head. And I don't know, maybe I should have went with them so I could give my own points, but they kind of just went up there.
What are some your personal deal breakers for like a piece of land? You're saying your dad and your brother weren't really fond of it?
Yeah, so like in our head we wanted to, like, from the pictures we saw, there wasn't a lot of trees, but like around the area there's a bunch of trees. So because it's a lower part too, that means it's like really soaked, right? So like it's too much water for these trees to kind of grow. So my parents, but me and my brother were saying like, even if it's barren, we'll go in there and plant a couple of trees, and then 5 to 7 years we'll come back and there should be trees there. But it doesn't look that that's going to be an option unless we kind of drain the land a bit, right? So that's stuff we're going to have to talk to somebody about, even if it is a little possible, because this is kind of the only part of land that's as low. Everything else is kind of feeding into it. So everything else is a little bit higher. So I don't know if that's going to be a possibility, but I really wish they didn't go see it at the worst time, but it's also good that they saw it at the worst time, because it's like, you know what to kind of expect. And you're not just getting it where it's like everything's like roses and sunshine and all that stuff. So I don't know, I'm a little torn. I'm a little pissed off, obviously. In my head I was like, yeah, this is the place. Like I told like 2-3 buddies about it, and like, oh bro, we're super excited, like we just want to come up and hunt and go fishing and all that stuff. And now like I'm gonna look like an idiot and be like, yeah, we're actually not gonna get the place because it's actually a piece of shit. Like so it's hard. It hurts, but especially after doing like searching and like finally finding a place. Like I've talked to the lawyers, we got the paperwork all set up and everything like that. Good thing I put the clause to go and visit the property before the deal got sold, which is going to be a benefit or in disguise at the end of the day, especially because it allows us to get out of the deal if we wanted to. But if we sign the paperwork without putting those clauses in there, we'd kind of be held liable at this point to complete the purchase, right? So they didn't like it, so that one, it gives us a little more negotiating power on the price, because here's what thought we were getting compared to, like, this is what we put an offer on, thinking that this is how it was going to be, but now that we saw it, we can go back and readjust the offer if we do want to get it. And if they want to sell it for that price, great. If not, we have the option to back out. And it kind of gave you a little better idea of what's around there, how the area is. Like my brother loved to drive up there, a bunch of lakes, like super nice, and all in all, good experience. Learning how to talk to lawyers, learning how to talk to real estate salesmen, the whole process and stuff like that.
Whole learning experience for you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be upset if this doesn't go through, but it's also going to be like, all right, you know what? Maybe kind of it's for the best, right?
Yeah.
So
So what's your next step with this? What do you think?
my next step is to really lowball on this offer.
Okay. Yeah.
Like we offered like, let's say 75.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, would you take 50 for it? And if he's like, no, then I'm like, all right, well, whatever. We're probably not going to buy the place.
Who owns the Is it a private?
Yeah, it's a private owner.
Oh,
owner?
nice.
Okay.
So, and then, I don't know, I'm going to see if there are other options as well, too. I was talking about the Airbnb and stuff like that. Like, I'm going to run some numbers to see if it would be even viable. So, just little ways to go. And if all else comes out as no, then look for something else, right?
Interesting. It's like what would you say the buying process for land is? Is it similar to like real estate, stocks,
Not really.
other assets, or?
No. With houses, it's nice because the banks always have something that. So there's a secured loan and an unsecured loan, right? So a secured loan is when you're like, you go to your bank and you're like, I want to buy this, secure my loan against this house, for example, right?
Yeah.
Banks love houses because one, it's a really easy asset to transfer. On their ends, they can write off a lot of the stuff. They depreciate it, whatever, right? And it's going to be there. Whereas a parcel of land, there's not really any banks that'll give you a loan for a parcel of land. Like you got to buy it straight up in cash.
Okay.
Some credit unions might give you like a 50-50 mortgage if it's like a good plot and you have some ideas for how you're going to develop it. But it's not like you put 5% down and you buy a house. Or you can leverage it like you can do stocks. Like you can buy options with stocks. Like you can't really do that with land.
Yeah.
So you have to have the cash in hand. You got to be at the time where there's somebody selling it and it's not just sold like that,
Okay.
which is how a lot of these properties go. And yeah, it's a lot of work. You got to always find stuff there's always stuff that you don't like. There's stuff that you do like, and you got to assess if it's worth the value, right?
Yeah.
You got to have road access. There's some properties where it's like super remote. Like you got to drive up to a certain place and take an ATV for like 30 minutes to get there. Like, or these aren't off the highway. Like you got to do like bushwhacking and stuff like that. So like there's a lot of considerations to put into when you're looking for a parcel of land like this. It's not just neighborhood.
Yeah.
What's the comps in the area? How does that work? Or it's not like a price to earnings ratio like you'd look at for stocks. Is it really worth this? With unorganized land, it's more just this is kind of what I want to do. Will
Okay.
this place allow me to kind of do that? Right.
So it's like more of a, I don't know the proper word, but personal investment rather than like a.
I would think so, especially with these recreational lands.
Yeah.
Because like the reason I really like it is because it's close to like the second and fourth like best fishing spots in Ontario.
Okay.
So and those are 15 to 30 minutes away.
Nice.
So like in my head, like this is a great base for everything that's kind of around there.
Yeah.
Sure, in the fall, it's gonna be a little wet,
Yeah.
but like my head, I'm thinking when it snows, this is gonna look unreal. Like the lake's gonna be frozen, and go fishing on go ice fishing on the lake, go snowmobiling. Like all the wet places are gonna be kind of like frozen over, right? So in my head, I'm thinking more as a positive, but I wasn't there, so I can't really speak to how they saw it. But from the videos they sent me, it looked sweet. I think they're doing a lot more complaining for being there for the hour they were. And because realistically, they drove up like 17 hours and they were there for like 2 hours. And I'm like, you couldn't spend a little more time to like explore and stuff? And they're like, no, it's just too wet. And I'm like, well. So it is what it is. Hopefully
It works out.
my dad's not into it anymore, so I think he's out. And my mom's probably out. And maybe my dad might be out. Or my brother might be out. But at the end of the day, the price isn't too crazy where if I lose a couple grand on it, I'm not going to
Stress over.
stress over it. And if at the end of the day it does go up in value, great. Or if I could figure out how to do some drainage on it to make it a little more dry and stuff like that, then those are some options that I kind of want to explore and not just be like, because you just can't find them. Like it's really hard to find like a good unorganized plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that price.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Sounds like you had to do a lot of homework though.
Yeah.
In terms of.
It's been months.
Yeah.
It's been months. Like finding a house is hard as it is, but I'd much prefer to find a house than I would prefer to find a recreational.
Because
plot.
like you're talking about understanding how the land is kind of situated, what's around it, and like what it's gonna allow you to do with it. Because you're talking about the trees and how the land is. You guys wanted to build trees to help with the drainage and stuff like that. Like you got to do a lot of you gotta understand a lot about just geography.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's
I want to build, like, my idea is, like, I want to build a log cabin, so I'd like to have, like, some logs on there that I could cut.
yeah.
Want to build, like, little tiny houses. Like, I went into this phase, like, 2-3 years ago, just going on these YouTube rabbit holes and just, like, look how sick these look.
Yeah.
The minimalist life, like, looking at all the stars and all that other stuff. So, like,
The minimalist life.
bro, I just got so hooked. I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
I look at my house and my apartment, and I'm like, I don't need 1,500 square feet. Like, that's too much for me. Give me an office, a little bedroom, and a kitchen, and I'm good. You know, like,
Right.
so I don't know. I don't see myself, like, working my whole life to have, like, $100 million house. Like, that for me isn't it. But to be able to be like, this is what I want to do today, and not have somebody tell me what to do, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
You know what's interesting? I was reading I was reading these articles about people leaving their apartments in big cities, Toronto, New York, and all of those, like, big cities where they're working jobs. Let's say you're working on Bay Street in Toronto. I know some dude that I knew from university moved from Toronto to BC to work his job remotely because of this whole COVID situation. Now they're letting people work from home.
Mhm.
So it's like, all right, let me leave my apartment, sublet it, or, you know, rent it out to someone else. Let me move out to BC where, you know, I like the weather, I like the environment, I like the surroundings. Let me work from there and live there, but I don't have to deal with, like, living in a city. Like,
And the nice part about that, too, is BC's 3 hours of a difference from Toronto. So you get an extra 3 hours in your day. Like, your workday doesn't start till 9 o'clock, whereas
Yeah.
before maybe it started at 6.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
like,
true.
so you being able to do it remotely, you get that time difference as well, but for you, it's the same time. Like, you're just like, all right, I know at 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock, like, especially if you start at 9, it's like starting at 12 when you're in BC. So you just be like, all right, from 12 to 8, like, I do my work, where it would have been
Yeah.
like 9 to 5 back at home.
It's pretty crazy because it's like you know, people are saying, is this the future? Is this how people are going to be working and living after this COVID-19 virus? Because these big tech companies like Apple and Twitter were saying that
Google and Twitter said no more. You don't have to come back. You can work from remote
Yeah.
forever.
they're saying, oh, we're so, like, we've seen our staff be more efficient at home
Mhm.
than they were in the offices. So are people gonna be, you know, are people really gonna take the option of living in different cities but just working from home when their headquarters are in Toronto or San Francisco or, you know, New York? You know, live in a city where it's, let's say you got a job in Toronto, but you can live in Windsor for a lot cheaper, or you can live in BC where that fits kind of your lifestyle and your hobby, instead of living in that big city because you have the option of working online.
I think it's going to happen, man. I think if you're doing like a technical job where you're doing coding and stuff, why does it matter where it happens?
Yeah.
But like right now I work from home. I work remotely. Like my office is in London, which is like 2 hours from here. But I work a sales job, so it's like it doesn't matter where I work from. But I think if you're doing tasks and stuff like coding and stuff, remote work's not a big deal. I think the only place that you're going to really see an issue is like with sales jobs.
Yeah.
Like, speaking from personal experience, I love to go to the office and just shoot the shit with the guys. How did it work with that client? What worked? What didn't work?
Yeah.
It's not just like a sales job is just so different from like, I got to sit at home, finish this module on whatever, Python, JavaScript, whatever you're coding in. Like, you know, you're going to have to sit there for 10 hours and just bang it out.
Yeah.
Whereas a sales job is like, you need that interaction. You need to constantly be like motivated and ready to go. And if you're always sitting at home, like I feel like I'm in the Truman Show. Like I literally walk from my bedroom to my office to my kitchen, and I do my 15,000 steps a day. Like literally just walking around my whole upper floor, just making calls all day. And I'm like, man, like if this has worked fine for 8 months, but if I have to do this for my whole career, I'm gonna go crazy. Like it's just not gonna work.
Right.
If I was sitting there and I'm like, all right, you guys have to make sure that our website can make sure this process happens. You have 6 months to get it done, and you kind of can just break down the work. It doesn't really matter where you're working from if you have an internet connection. You kind of can communicate. Oh, I finished module 1. Did you guys finish module 2? Okay, let's make sure that they interact well. Whereas a sales job, it's like, no. You need somebody to talk to and be like, all right, we both had shitty days today.
Goes back to what we
Yeah.
were saying, man. You
Yeah.
need that personal connection with the people around you and the customers as a salesperson.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, you gotta experience like what really works here.
Yeah.
What works for you, what might work for me, what might not, you know.
Yeah.
So
Like when I sit with somebody in front, face to face, it's easy to go into like what bothers you, like what are your goals and stuff like that. But once you're on like WebEx with somebody, people already have a million distractions at home.
exactly.
Them sitting in front of their computer being like, oh yeah, we need to talk about our finances today, or we need to talk about this. They've got 50 other things in the background. Their kids are going crazy. Like they're like, can you just email me this? I'll look it over. Like it's not the same as you sitting face to face with them, right?
Yeah.
But you can only do so much. So it's worked fine for these last 8 months, but I don't think sales jobs are going to be able to be done from home.
Online. Yeah.
Everything else, probably. If you're doing like AI or coding or anything like that, I think you could do that from home. If you need a factory, you obviously can't do that from home because you need to be at the factory. But there's some things that it's going to work for and some things it's not going to work for. Twitter and Google figured out, you know what, our productivity is better when our employees are at home.
Yeah.
They work 6 hours as opposed to 8, like they would at the office, but they probably talk for 4 hours a day at the office anyways. So we're really going to get a 2-hour bonus from them being at home. Whereas salespeople are like, they talk for 15 minutes to their other guys and just get a little pointer or get a little motivational boost, and then they go back out and make a couple sales or whatever. So it's 2 different types of worlds. And I don't think anything's perfect, but I think the online world works better for people that are more technical. And then if you're making sales, I think you need to be in an office.
Yeah. And on the business level, online is like you get to reach so many more people for a lot less money than being in a store where you're spending a lot more and you can only reach your local community. It's cool. COVID-19 has been like
A blessing and a
in
curse.
disguise,
A blessing and a
yeah.
curse.
that's hilarious. No, I appreciate you guys coming out and enjoying this. I needed this glass of wine to be
For real.
honest this week. It's been a long week.
Me too.
Glad everyone enjoyed their wine. So we talked about LowEnd's 2-year anniversary, which went really, really well. Shouts out to the people. Talked about online e-commerce versus brick and mortar business, how that impacted LowEnd, how that impacted a lot of other luxury brands and businesses around the world. We also talked about buying land, which is pretty cool. I never
Never really dived into that.
never
Shouts
really
out to
knew
Raz.
what that was about, but understanding what people are buying land for in this time of again, in these circumstances, what goes into it, what you were trying to get out of it, and again, how COVID-19 just really made everything happen a lot faster for a lot of people. That is the bottom line.
All right, boys.
One of the birthdays.
That's a wrap.
That was nice.